The Lexus RX finally gets a plug-in hybrid powertrain option with this 5th generation design. This 450h Plus model offers 43 miles of electric driving range before it reverts to its frugal hybrid engine. As with the self-charging hybrid variants, it offers a very luxurious take on what a large SUV should be.
Not many cars have a really unique selling point within their segments, but we think this one, the Lexus RX 450h Plus, just might have. If you're looking at a large luxury SUV, but you can't quite bring yourself to make the seismic step into a full electric vehicle, you might well be considering a car of this kind with a plug-in hybrid powertrain. A number of large luxury SUVs are available on the market in PHEV form, but almost all have one pretty severe drawback. When their EV mileage is exhausted, they revert to thirsty petrol power. And thirsty petrol power lugging along the weight of a PHEV drivetrain. It's less than ideal. But the RX 450h Plus is a plug-in hybrid that's different. Its potential EV range, 43 EAER rated miles, is far from being the best in its segment, but the difference here is that when that battery mileage is finished, what you revert to is the same uber-efficient self-charging full hybrid powertrain that's been selling Prius-style Toyota Motor Corporation models for decades. In a reality where surveys show many PHEV owners often don't get around to or can't be bothered to plug their cars in, it's a huge advantage for this Lexus. This PHEV model puts out 304 brake horsepower, makes 62 miles an hour in 6.5 seconds, and offers up to 43 miles of EAER-rated battery-only range. In that plug-in RX, the drive system works just as it does in plug-in versions of the Lexus NX and the Toyota RAV4, which also use the same dual-motor E4 all-wheel drive system and eCVT auto gearbox setup. Pressing a button near the gear stick lets you flip between EV, full electric drive, and the alternative HV mode, the latter being more realistic for normal driving, as it runs the car as a regular full hybrid, the software seamlessly blending in either petrol or electric power sources as required. A full press on the same button connects you to a further charge mode, which sees the engine note rise as it rather inefficiently charges the battery when you're driving. All that might sound quite complicated, but driving an RX 450h Plus really isn't. You don't have to make driving mode choices unless you really want to, because an additional auto EV or HV mode button is also provided, which essentially makes all the decisions for you. Its choices seem effective too, because that advertised 43-mile electric driving range figure turns out to be not beyond the bounds of achievability. Whatever your choice of RX powertrain, you'd expect a cosseting big Lexus SUV to ride serenely, particularly this one, which, as we referenced earlier, has had quite a lot of work done on its damping. All models get new multi-link rear suspension, and the re-engineered all-round setup supposed to better absorb shock and vibration over uneven surfaces. That might be, but to be frank, we were a bit disappointed with the end result, finding the car too easily troubled by transverse ridges and tarmac tears on secondary roads. Yes, even when fitted with the AVS or adaptive variable suspension system you can have with the top 2 trim levels, a setup also supposed to have been heavily revised and fitted out with an extra comfort drive mode setting. Around town, the RX rides more in keeping with its plush remit, and of course it manages beautifully at highway speeds. What else? Well, the re-engineered electronically controlled braking system now delivers significantly more pedal feel. You get shift paddles behind the steering wheel which deliver engine braking force in 6 steps. And highway cruising speeds are as refined as you'd hope from a hybrid, helped in the 450h Plus plug-in model by the fact there's less noise from the hybrid engine as it can run at lower revs compared to this self-charging 350h variant. Noise and vibration are also suppressed by plenty of insulation in the wing linings and front pillars, and the use of acoustic glass for the windscreen and front side windows. The result is exemplary refinement that's difficult to better in this class. Apart from the badging and the addition of a charging flap, there are no visual changes to set this RX 450h Plus plug-in model apart from its self-charging hybrid range counterparts. The RX has gained a new visual lease of life in this fifth generation form, with a more dynamic look clearly influenced by the brand's full electric RZ model and the smaller NX. This so-called next chapter design language delivers a more confident stance and emulates the spindle body profile of the RZ. The stylists were going for a more coupe-like feel, dropping the roofline by 10mm, plus there are big 21-inch wheels on most models. At the front, the spindle-shaped theme of the previous model is retained, though not as obviously because it's been applied to the entire front end, not just the grille. The top part of the grille spindle is now blocked off, presumably in a nod to the EV revolution, and the rest of it merges into the body along its edges. Slim LED headlamp units with their tick-shaped daytime running light strips are familiar. There's just this standard 5-seat body shape available. Under the skin sits the same GAK platform used in the smaller NX 450h Plus model, so it's had to be significantly stretched here. Inside, up front, there's a driver-focused minimalist dash with the usual digital instrument cluster and enveloping multi-power adjustable seats trimmed in various grades of leather. Infotainment's taken care of by a standard 14-inch central infotainment touchscreen incorporating Hey Lexus voice control systems, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto smartphone mirroring and cloud-based navigation. Plus, most models get a customisable ambient lighting system with 64 colours and 14 preset themes. In the rear, this 5th generation RX design's 60mm wheelbase increase frees up useful extra leg space. The seat base doesn't slide, but the backrest can recline. Rear compartment climate controls are standard, and top models get rear seat heating, side window blinds, and a 220-volt socket. Out back, rather impressively, luggage capacity isn't compromised by the plug-in hybrid battery, so it's the same 461-litre figure as the conventional self-charging RX hybrid models, or 612 litres if you load up to the roof. There are some useful small compartments beneath the floor as well, and with the rear bench folded, the backrest can be power operated with top-level trim. There's 1,678 litres of capacity on offer. What about pricing? Well, for this RX 450h Plus plug-in hybrid, there's a step up of just over £5,000 over the equivalent self-charging RX 350h model. We'll quote you RX 450h Plus asking figures as they were from launch in late 2022 and at the time of this test in early summer 2023. Prices for this PHEV variant start from around £67,000. And as with the RX 350h, there's a choice of 3 core trim levels: Premium Pack, Premium Plus Pack, or as in this case, Top Takumi Spec. All 450h Plus variants get the brand's E4 four-wheel drive system and hybrid automatic transmission. The obvious difference to class rivals lies in the fact that when this RX plug-in model's EV range is used up, it reverts to a self-charging full hybrid petrol power plant. With competitors in this class, you'll be reverting to a thirsty conventional petrol engine. We told you earlier that the RX 450h Plus was priced from launch from around £67,000. The closest, most obvious rival to that is Jeep's Grand Cherokee 4xe, which costs from around £70,000 but has a lower EV range figure. As we filmed, Volkswagen's Touareg R, another PHEV, cost around £74,000 and offered a lot more power but less frugality. Around £77,000 would get you Porsche's Cayenne E hybrid, but that can't get near the efficiency figures of an RX 450h+. If you could find another 20 grand over the cost of an RX 450h+, then the Mercedes GLE 400e might tempt you. But as well as being much pricier, that car is also significantly less powerful, though it does have a much longer EV range capability. Right, enough with rivals. Let's assume you've decided that it is an RX of some sort that you really want. So just how generous has Lexus been with specification this time round? Well, let's take a look at that now. And start with what you get on all RX models, a fair bit as it happens. LED headlights with automatic high beam, power folding mirrors, roof rails, a powered tailgate, the e-latch, electronic door opening system, keyless smart entry, rear privacy glass, auto headlamps and wipers, all-round parking sensors, headlamp cleaners, a Thatcham Category 1 alarm, and a very complete portfolio of Lexus Safety System Plus camera safety kit, which we'll brief you on in a few moments. Inside, with all RX models, you get a digital instrument cluster, powered steering adjustment, a 4-setting drive mode select system, a heated steering wheel and triple zone climate control, plus heated and 8-way power adjustable front seats, a wireless smartphone charger and ambient cabin lighting. Infotainment's taken care of by a 14-inch Lexus Link Pro multimedia centre infotainment screen with HD graphics, over-the-air updates, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone mirroring, and a 12-speaker DAB premium sound system. This display also includes a cloud-based embedded navigation system and comes with a 4-year data subscription package. Across the range, owners can also use the provided Lexus Link app on their smartphone. The connected services offered with that include locking and unlocking the vehicle, opening the tailgate, operating the steering wheel and seat heaters, and adjusting the climate control to heat or cool the vehicle ahead of setting out on a journey. The car's hazard lights can also be remotely illuminated, for example, to help spot the car in a busy car park. These things are in addition to established Lexus Link services such as driving analytics, hybrid coaching and fuel level monitoring. Additional Lexus Link functions available for the RX 450h+ include monitoring of battery charge level, charge scheduling and a charging timer. With entry-level premium pack variants, you get all of this along with Tahara synthetic leather upholstery and 19-inch alloy wheels. If you can find another £6,000 for this mid-level Premium Plus pack trim, that'll be changed for upholstery in real smooth leather and larger 21-inch wheel rims. In addition, with Premium Plus pack spec, you also get ventilated front seats, a head-up display, a 360-degree panoramic view monitor, the fancier ambient cabin lighting with 64 colours and the brand's Tazuna cockpit package with its touch tracer steering wheel switches. Along with leather steering wheel trim, memory settings for the driver's seat, a kick sensor for the rear tailgate, and a package of extra safety features which we'll cover off for you in a moment. The alternative F-Sport design trim grade basically mirrors the Premium Plus trim level, but brings a sportier look, courtesy of an F-Sport mesh grille and rear bumper, plus black door mirror casings and roof rails. Plus silver inserts in the door mirrors and the dark grey front and rear lower bumpers, gloss black finished 21-inch alloy wheels and all silver F-Sport badges. Want more? Well, then if your priority is luxury, you'll be directed to the Takumi spec we have here. This pricey trim level has a panoramic roof, semi-aniline leather upholstery, 10-way powered front seat adjustment with 4-way lumbar support, heated power adjustable rear seats, rear side window sunshade blinds, a wood and leather steering wheel, a digital rear view mirror, a 220-volt AC inverter for the back seat, and a thumping Mark Levinson 21-speaker premium surround audio system. There's also intelligent blade scan headlamps, adaptive variable suspension, remote and automatic parking functions, and triple zone air conditioning with a Nano-E air quality function. As for options, well, as usual with Lexus, there aren't too many. You can pay extra for a sunroof with the base premium pack models, or pay extra for a panoramic roof with the mid-range premium plus pack derivatives. With the RX 500h, there's an optional Takumi pack, which adds a panoramic roof, heated and ventilated power adjustable rear seats, a digital rear view mirror, the Mark Levinson 21-speaker premium surround audio system, and the 220-volt AC inverter for the back seat. Across the RX range, metallic mica paint is included in various colours, but Lexus wants £250 extra for its various special metallic paint Sonic shades in white, grey, platinum, titanium, or this rather striking Sonic copper finish. Accessories include side steps, a towing hitch and roof crossbars upon which the bike holder can be attached. You can also include stylised touches like puddle lamps, an illuminated trunk scuff or side scuff plates, a chrome rear lower trunk garnish and chromed side sills. Practical touches include textile floor mats, a trunk liner, a rear seat protector, mud flaps and a safety kit. For the RX 450h Plus plug-in variant, Lexus can also sell you a branded connected wall box. Let's finish, as we always do, with a detailed look at safety. Now, we should start by saying that this 5th generation RX gets an even stronger, safer structure this time round, with enlarged front side members, a new cross member in the floor, and a new high tensile steel frame at the back, which can better withstand a rear impact. Otherwise, it's all about camera and radar-based safety kit. The previous generation RX was one of the first of the brand's models to feature the Lexus Safety System Plus package, equipping it with a comprehensive array of active safety and driver assistance features. At first glance, it doesn't look a lot different to the package supplied here, but actually quite a lot's been done here in terms of upgrades and extra features, made possible by enhancement of the detection range of the car's millimetre wave radar and camera. Let's start with the autonomous braking setup. Lexus calls its PCS, its pre-collision system. And with this, capabilities have been extended so that it can now detect motorcycles and pedestrians in the car's path. That setup additionally gains a new function that identifies high collision risks with oncoming traffic or crossing pedestrians and cyclists when making a turn at an intersection. Also now incorporated into PCS is an emergency steering assist function, which provides assistance triggered by the driver's use of the wheel to automatically control steering when there's a high risk of a collision, helping to keep the vehicle stable and within its traffic lane. Plus a neat acceleration suppression function that's been added into the setup, which helps prevent unintended sharp acceleration when travelling at low speed. These various improvements should, Lexus reckons, enable the PCS system to detect up to 36% more accident risk scenarios than before. We wouldn't doubt it. Apart from autonomous braking, the other thing you expect on a modern family car is a lane keeping system. This Lexus has two: LDA, or lane departure alert, to warn you if you're drifting out of lane, and lane trace assist to keep you centred in your lane. Both setups have been further refined for this Mark V RX model, with LDA made more intuitive so that it can activate warning and restraint functions when it's judged that the driver is making a deliberate manoeuvre to avoid a person or parked vehicle. The system can also now recognise some solid objects, such as curbs, guardrails, walls and utility poles, giving more natural lane tracing performance. The Lane Trace Assist, meanwhile, has enhanced recognition performance, giving smoother and less abrupt steering support. For example, when overtaking a vehicle in an adjacent lane, or when driving close to a roadside structure, the tracing position is offset from the centre of the road to the avoidance side, again following a driver's natural instinct. What else? Well, as you'd expect, the Lexus Safety System Plus package includes automatic high beam and a blind spot monitor to alert you if you're about to dangerously pull out in front of another vehicle. A setup in this 5th generation RX, neatly linked into the car's all-new Safe Exit Assist feature that's been made possible by the new e-latch electronic entry and exit system built into the doors. If the blind spot monitor detects traffic approaching from the rear and an attempt is made to open any door, the unlatching will be cancelled until the danger has passed. Lexus believes this innovative system could help prevent 95% of the accidents caused by door opening. The blind spot monitor system also incorporates rear cross traffic alert, which will warn you of approaching traffic when you're reversing out of a space and, if necessary, brake the car to avoid a collision. Another key camera safety area Lexus has worked on for this 5th generation RX is its DRCC, or Dynamic Radar Cruise Control system, now improved so that it can more quickly recognise and adjust to traffic cutting in front of your RX. Working in conjunction with lane trace assist, it will allow a more natural line through bends and decelerate earlier in accordance with the sharpness of the curve. A new indicator-linked pre-acceleration function automatically accelerates the car up to its target speed to shorten the distance to the vehicle ahead in preparation for changing lane to overtake. And similarly, the system will slow the RX when the indicator is used to move into a lane behind a slower vehicle, giving a more natural feel to the driving assistance. All good, and if, like us, you really don't like people undertaking on the highway, well, this car won't do it, because it features Lexus's first overtake prevent function, which will automatically reduce cruising speed to avoid undertaking vehicles in the adjacent lane. The system works in conjunction with another standard Lexus safety system feature, RSA, or road sign assist, which has been expanded to respond to more signs and commands, these now including warning and stop signs. When RSA recognises a change in the speed limit, the system alerts the driver to adjust the car's cruising speed accordingly. That's great for highway use, but of course a lot of your RX driving will be done in town. For that, Lexus has developed what it calls proactive driving assist, specifically for lower speeds in urban traffic. It provides 3 functions: obstacle anticipation assist, deceleration assist, and steering assist. Using the car's front camera, obstacle anticipation assist will spot hazards such as pedestrians about to cross the road, cyclists, and parked cars. If there's a collision risk, it will provide braking and steering to avoid the obstacle while keeping within the traffic lane. It differs from the RX's pre-collision system in recognising an accident risk earlier and initiating assistance so that the risk does not increase. Deceleration assist supports smooth slowing of the car when the driver takes their foot off the accelerator, for example, when approaching another vehicle or a bend ahead. If the system determines that normal engine braking will not slow the car sufficiently, it applies extra braking. Steering assist, meanwhile, helps keep the vehicle in its traffic lane when driving through a bend. The system will detect road markings for a curve ahead, calculate the radius, and adjust the steering assistance for a correct line. If the steering angle is insufficient, extra steering assistance is provided to make it easier for the driver to turn the wheel in the right direction. In straight line driving, the system reduces the level of steering assistance, making it easier to keep the car in a neutral position. As for more conventional passive safety kit fitted across the RX range, well, pretty much everything you'd expect is present and correct. So, tick off a pedestrian-friendly bonnet, ISOFIX child seat fastenings, anti-whiplash head restraints, an emergency brake signal for panic stops, and a full complement of SRS airbags, including front centre and front passenger seat cushion airbags, all linked to an e-call system that will automatically alert the emergency services with your exact GPS location in the event of any bag being activated in an accident. As a result of this and all the camera camera safety provision. The experts at Euro NCAP awarded this RX a top 5-star rating for both in-car and pedestrian safety. What else? Well, across the lineup, you'll also find a tyre pressure monitoring system and hill start assist control to stop you from drifting backwards on uphill junctions. In addition, there are all the usual electronic driving aids for braking, traction and stability, systems that in most other cars will only activate at the last minute if the situation demands it. In an RX, though, it's all done a bit more cleverly. The so-called Lexus Vehicle Dynamics Integration Management setup, coordinating everything together and taking action to correct the car just that little bit earlier. This derivative has a whole clutch of sector rivals who at first glance seem to use much the same engine technology, so you might not expect the same kind of efficiency advantage in segment that the more affordable 350h model enjoys. Well, yes and no. The RX 450h Plus has a smaller 18.1 kilowatt-hour battery than some of its competitors, hence a 43-mile EAER rated range that's 17 miles down on the class leader in this respect, the Mercedes GLE 400e. With that Mercedes though, as with other similar PHEVs in the class like the Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe, the Porsche Cayenne E Hybrid and the Volkswagen Touareg R, the difference comes when you run out of EV range, as of course beyond the city limits you quickly inevitably will. At that point, in all the competitors just mentioned, you revert to a big thirsty petrol engine. In an RX 450h Plus, in contrast, you revert to the much more frugal, self-charging full hybrid power plant of the lesser RX 350h, which, as we've already seen, is the most efficient choice in its class. That's why the RX 450h Plus model's 25 grams per kilometre CO2 figure all but matches the emissions reading of a Mercedes GLE 400e, despite significantly inferior EV range. Hence this Lexus model's same low 8% BIK tax rating. As with any PHEV, the RX 450h Plus model's 3-figure combined cycle fuel figure, here WLTP rated at 256.8 mpg, can be taken with a pinch of salt, but 35 to 40 mpg as a regular reading should certainly be well within any owner's real-world scope. Whichever kind of RX you decide upon, at higher speeds you'll need to bear in mind that the quoted fuel figures are even more heavily dependent than normal on the driver assuming a significant degree of restraint. Certainly for noteworthy levels of frugality in day-to-day use with this Lexus, you'll need to keep extreme right foot flexing to a minimum and frequently select the most frugal eco drive mode from the big center screen, a setting which moderates throttle response and engine power output while tweaking the climate control. Plus, you'll also need to keep a very careful eye on the provided hybrid system indicator central dial in the instrument binnacle, making sure that it stays as often as possible out of its top power section and in its left-hand charge or eco zones. You can monitor the hybrid system's cleverness on the selectable energy flow display you'll find on the instrument binnacle screen and, more colourfully, on the centre console monitor. There's a selectable eco meter gauge in the instrument cluster that also shows your average mile per kilowatt hour energy usage, and the centre dash display also provides graphical trip info, current and history screens, so you can gauge your ongoing mile per kilowatt hour energy consumption. Finally, the instrument binnacle screen shows your driving range in both EV and HV or hybrid drive. Talking of electric driving range, if you've opted for a plug-in RX, it's worth pointing out that EV range readings in colder conditions are preserved by the standard incorporation of an energy-saving heat pump, which draws thermal energy from the air outside the car to heat the cabin, which means less impact on the car's EV driving capability. All the technology in play here might make you worry about this Lexus model's reliability in either of its forms, but the Prius-derived engineering scores very highly in almost every customer satisfaction survey going, which is thanks to some very careful engineering. Take for instance the way that the hybrid system operates an automatic warm-up phase to help protect the petrol engine against the excessive wear that might occur if it was called upon to make regular cold starts, then run almost immediately at motorway speeds. To guard against potential issues here, power is initially slightly limited on really cold mornings, then progressively increased. If you've stretched up to the RX 450h Plus plug-in model, you'll want to know about charging it. Well, you can actually refresh the battery while you're driving the car. There's a provided battery charging mode for that. Press and hold this button on the console between the seats. But we wouldn't suggest that you regularly use it because that mode really isn't very efficient. Better to plug in what is actually quite a large battery for a PHEV, 18.1 kilowatt hours in size, containing 96 cells with a rated voltage of 355.2 volts. Its charging times are aided by a 6.6 kilowatt onboard charger, which is why it takes only 2.5 hours to replenish those cells from a conventional 7.4 kilowatt garage wall box using a 230 volt 32 amp connection. Connect up to a feebler power source like a domestic socket, and you're looking at replenishment in 8 hours and 15 minutes, so still comfortably achievable overnight if, say, you happen to be away at a hotel or staying over with friends. You can set charging times using the car's centre screen or by using the provided Lexus Link app. And via this app, you can also defrost the windows and either preheat or pre-cool the cabin before you reach the car, so you won't have to spend climate system energy doing so once you're underway. The Lexus Link app additionally allows RX 450h Plus owners to check battery charge and driving range and find public charging stations in the Lexus charging network. There are about 160,000 of them across Europe, with around 30,000 of those in the UK. On to after-sales cover. Now, it's worth pointing out that Lexus gives you a much better warranty than the limited 3-year one you'll get with most premium rivals. From the showroom, the car comes with a 3-year warranty, but providing you continue to regularly maintain it at one of the brand's franchise dealerships, 12 months of extra warranty cover will be included with every scheduled service, up to 100,000 miles or 10 years, whichever comes first. Servicing intervals are rather frequent though, every year or 10,000 miles, whichever comes first, and fixed price servicing plans are available if you want to spread the cost of maintenance, allowing you to spread the cost over 2 years or more. However you go about paying for maintenance on an RX, it shouldn't cost you too much. The hybrid setup has a good record for minimising tyre wear, and its battery will last the life of the car. Plus, the regenerative braking setup helps extend the life of the brake pads over 60,000 miles of driving. The front pads should only need replacing once, while the rear pads and all discs will probably last the full distance. What else might you need to know? Well, what about vehicle excise duty? The RX 350h falls into VED Band H, which at the time of filming in summer 2023 meant first-year road tax at £255. It's Band J for the RX 500h, which means a first-year VED cost of £1,040. For the RX 450h Plus plug-in, it's VED Band B, so you'll only pay £10 of road tax in the first year. Lexus residual values are usually strong, and this car's no exception. The smaller NX holds on to around 50% of its value after 3 years of use, and we'd expect this RX to get pretty close to that. And let's finish with a look at insurance groupings. The RX 450h Plus plug-in is in Group 44E to 45E. There's really nothing quite like an RX 450h Plus in its segment, and not only because its PHEV powertrain is uniquely based around a full hybrid engine, This is a luxury SUV that feels expensive, despite the fact that it's better value than most of its rivals. It's also difficult to better in terms of refinement, safety, and media connectivity. Obviously, if you want an SUV in this class that prioritises sharp handling, a contender that's good for towing, or one with a broad range of off-road ability, this Lexus isn't going to suit. But assuming that you don't need to tick any of those boxes and you merely prioritise luxury, practicality and comfort while wanting to improve your running costs, this RX 450h Plus is difficult to overlook. Even so, quite a few segment customers will. Don't be one of them.